Continuing our discussion on the top 10 reasons why it's reasonable for Californians to discuss a more independent California, we want to point out a couple things. That national media organizations have conducted national surveys of Americans and generally found that Americans suggested on their own that California secede from the Union. Americans suggested in national surveys multiple times over the last couple of years that California outright get out of the Union. That was American suggestions about California. I know that sounds shocking. I'm going to give you the citations right now. Let's start from the beginning. In 2014, a national voter poll was conducted by Fox News. Half of Americans said they want California kicked out of the Union. And if you're asking, that was 2 times as many Americans as ever suggested Texas. So the number one state that Americans wanted to leave the Union, according to 2014, according to Fox News, was California alone, and by a large margin. 2013, the year before, Business Insider asked the question of its readers, and this is a national magazine, quotes, which state would you like to see kicked out of the Union? California again was voted by Business Insider in 2013. 2012, radio host Joyce Kaufman says, quotes, we ought to just cut California loose on the radio. 2012 also, in a national survey of all CEOs by Chief Executive Magazine, again in 2012, they asked CEOs to rate the state with the worst business climate. Now, no surprise, a lot of the CEOs from around the Union of America said California had the worst business climate. But that magazine went even further and reported a quote by one of the CEOs saying, California should secede from the Union. This was supposed to be a survey of CEOs across America talking about business climates. And yet this national publication, in its national survey, felt that it was reasonable in 2012 by a report by Chief Executive Magazine to report a quote by one of the CEOs just in their report and mention on the news that California should secede from the Union. Those are Americans saying that about California. I want to repeat that. Let's go back to 2011. Scholars and Rogues news site proposes that California secede. Quotes, California should secede from the Union, a semi-modest proposal, January 3rd, 2011, at Scholars and Rogues website. Let's move on to 2010. Another national magazine, the Daily Signal, said, quotes, outside the Beltway, what country is California again? Suggesting that California is not part of the United States. That was an article by Con Carroll in the Daily Signal on May 6, 2010. But let's go back to 2008. Radio host Laura Ingraham says, quotes, I mean, just secede already at this point. Okay, secede already. I can't take it anymore from California. 2008, nationally syndicated radio host Laura Ingraham. And in 2007, Gary Alperovitz in the New York Times on February 10th, 2007, wrote an article called California Split, where he talked about California leaving the Union.